He said, I'm going. And it's a very difficult decision.
Yeah.
Which it would be. But I mean, he's an astonishing talent, but he's a human being. And I don't think he can continue working at this rate. I mean, the cost of doing Doctor Who to an individual is immense, you know, and he takes the greatest weight on his shoulders. He loves the show and is absolutely responsible for it, and feels that responsibility gravely and with delight as well. I mean, he's thrilled. He loves this job. So I think it's very, very difficult for him to leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very difficult. But I think he has to, because I think otherwise he'd have a heart attack.
And Peter, it is all change. I mean, obviously not with your good self, thankfully. But what's it like, now that the TARDIS has slightly different staff members?
It's great. It's quite strange because I sort of think of myself as the new Doctor Who. I'm shocked to find myself in my third year. So to have somebody new come along, in this case, Pearl, and someone who doesn't know where the canteen is or where the trailers are or any of that stuff, and who any of these 250 people are who are standing around looking at us every day as we go to work. It was quite nice to be able to introduce her to that. And she has arrived and brought a great kind of energy and vigor and talent to the show. The great thing about Bill and Pearl playing Bill is that she comes from the real world. That's not to say that we don't all live in the real world, but I mean, she doesn't come from the world of Doctor Who. So she has to be introduced to that world. And that refreshes and reinvigorates the whhole thing.
I mean, everyone was really supportive from day one. I mean, when we were shooting the trailer, Peter and I were working together, and at the end he gave me 2 cards and a little candle to like welcome me to the show, and was just like, "You're really great. You were really great in your audition, and I'm really glad that you're here working with us." And this world is mad. It's the show is amazing, but there's a lot that goes with it as well that can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming. And if you do ever feel a bit overwhelmed, here's my number. Don't worry, you're not in it by yourself. And that was really lovely. That it meant a lot to me. Thank you, man.
I must say, actually, there was a day when we were filming. This was with me and Jenna. And Jenna and I, we wandered off of the set. We were in a hotel somewhere, and we surprised a couple. It was an older couple. It was the wedding next day of their daughter, and they were suddenly surprised to see the Doctor and his companion suddenly show up. But obviously they loved the show. But the guy got very nervous, and he went to us. He went, "Matt, Karen." And then he realized his mistake, and being nervous, not knowing what to say, he said, "Big shoes." Big shoes, my friend.
I gather, Peter and Pearl, that you only finished shooting the series on Friday, and it's been, 205 days? So,
We started 10 months ago.
so how does it feel having finished it? What state are you both in?
I don't know how Pearl feels, but I feel as if I'm expecting to go back to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I
As if I have finished.
I think I'm so tired that I'm basically devoid of all emotions. So I think it'll probably hit me at some point, but yeah, I feel like we're probably just going to go back on Monday.
Yeah, I have no decision-making mechanical process left in my head. I just do what I'm told. Stand over there, say this, say that, go here, go there. I don't know, it'll take me, there's a sort of airlock you have to go through, I've discovered. When you finish, a decompression chamber when you come back to real life, because unfortunately everybody in real life doesn't treat me as if I'm Doctor Who or the most important person in the room, so I have to get used to that. So. No, I think it is. I think it's a great, I mean, Pearl's fabulous in it, and she brings a kind of freshness and life to it because she's not part of the Doctor Who world. But part of that was that, because I don't want to go into the ins and outs of the plot, but the Doctor's a bit kind of parked up, as it were, in a university. And so yes, he kind of meets this girl and thinks she has incredible potential. So like educating Rita, he tries to encourage that potential and help her reach it. I think there's a certain age you reach when you're a man, and you're a sort of slightly rumpled actor, as opposed to an elegant leading man. They tend to. I've been asked to play an educating Peter so many times, so many times. Yeah. And I'd love to do
that. Maybe we should do it.
Yeah.
Heard it here first?
I think we've done it already.
The tour starts here.
Yes.
How do you feel about you're now a member of this crazy fandom for basically the rest of your lives? And how do you feel about being thrown into this crazy mess of all of us who are going to follow you no matter where you go or what you do?
I mean, I was going to say I was into it, and then you said you were going to follow me everywhere. No, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I'm very into this crazy mess of fandom. You guys are amazing.
I've increased my security.
Not to pry, but is there any particular reason why you say bye-bye now?
I think I've always, Doctor Who is a great job, but it's a bit of a television factory. You do 12 episodes a year, and I just worry that I wouldn't be able to continue doing my best work, because I like to be able to learn the lines and do some preparation and come in and give it the vigor and fun.
And not hate it.
And not hate it, yes. So I just thought, while you're enjoying it, leave.
But if you've done the...
well, you've got to watch it and see. I have done the death of my character.
Okay. So wait a minute. Are you the 13th Doctor as well?
Well,
do you
that's
just come back
surprise.
as yourself? Surprise!
I know I can't tell you what's going to happen, but it's going to be very interesting.
If you could choose, who would you choose for the next incarnation as a Doctor? Sorry, I couldn't help it.
What job do you do, and who do you want to replace you?
I'm available when you need me.
I'm glad that I don't have to choose. I think that person is the luckiest. The luckiest acting human being on the planet, and they're going to have a wonderful time, and I'm sure they'll be fabulous, whoever they are. I know they will have a wonderful time. If I was to choose, anybody could be Doctor Who. That's the great thing. Any of you guys could be Doctor Who. It's as Tom Baker has said, it's a sort of indestructible part. You just show up and it's all there already. And we have, a fabulous, Brian's a fabulous producer, and Stephen's a fabulous writer, and Pearl's a fabulous actress. And if it wasn't me who was Doctor Who, any other actor would be equally as good as... I'm getting totally mixed up now. Do I mean me or whoever it is going to come next? But I think that, I love, thinking of Doctors who they would never... Frances de la Tour, I think, is one of the greatest actresses
Wonderful
ever.
idea.
And is both tragic and comic, and I'd love to see her, facing off against Davros. It'd be like a wonderful kind of acidy version of Rising Damp.
What is it like when you have to come to that moment as a creator where you're like, both of you, where you're like, okay, I think I've done enough, I'm going to step away? And is there a gut check where you're like, well, this is safe and comfortable and wonderful, why would I walk away from this?
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it, Peter?
I decided, I love Doctor Who. I've loved Doctor Who since I was a kid and used to write fan letters and stuff like that. And so becoming Doctor Who was an amazing thing. But I suddenly realized that the actual amount of work involved, we do like kind of 10 months a year, every day for 12 hours a day. I thought, I can't keep doing this to the best of my ability. And I didn't ever want to just phone it in. I didn't ever want to just be someone who just turned up for the money. I wanted to be somebody who did it because they loved it. So I thought, well, I want to leave while I think I'm still feeling it. And also Stephen was leaving as well. Stephen's written some of the most extraordinary television programs ever, and I've been lucky to be involved in them, and what he's done with Doctor Who has been amazing. And I thought, well, he's kind of my guy. So I thought it was the right time to go.
I was wondering, I mean, if Doctor Who teaches us anything, it's that time is a strange thing. Does it does it seem like 3 minutes ago for you that you began this?
Yeah, I don't know where the time went. Time ran away with me, literally. It just seems like a moment ago that we started, but it's so intense and it fills up your life that you don't have a second that's not about Doctor Who, which is a nice way to live, but it does take over, yeah.
And you do, as you referenced before, have one more episode, the special Christmas episode.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, try to get you to spoil anything, but maybe you could just tease the episode a little for us.
My doctor is refusing to regenerate. He's just not having it. He's fed up with it. He doesn't want to turn into somebody else, whether or not that be someone as talented as Jodie Whittaker. He's not ready to do that. So he has to be persuaded to do it. And the person that becomes involved in that persuasion is the first Doctor, William Hartnell, who isn't here, but is played rather brilliantly by David Bradley, who does an uncanny, it's not an impression, it's a sort of, he somehow manages to evoke the spirit of William Hartnell. And I sometimes just look at him on the set and because my first Doctor was William Hartnell, was the first Doctor. And I remember as a child seeing him and finding him strange and weird and grumpy and magical, and I just loved him. He was just extraordinary. And so suddenly I'd look at David and there he'd be. And in fact, I remember when I first met David when Mark Gatiss had done An Adventure in Space and Time, which is when David played William Hartnell. And Mark invited me down to the set to meet. This was before I was Doctor Who. He invited me down because he knew I was a fan and to see that an old TARDIS there and everything. And I got to meet David and got my photo taken with him. And I remember emailing Mark and saying, thanks very much for letting a young man meet Doctor Who. Which is what it was, because it was like me meeting Doctor Who, so it was very exciting. So it was great to work with him on the set.
The Christmas special is coming up. Do you have any input on how you're going to leave the show?
I had a little idea about an attitudinal thing, about how I would feel about it, and Stephen very kindly went with that. So, but otherwise, I mean, Stephen's a brilliant writer, so I can't come up with anything that, in the same ballpark as he comes up with. But I just had an idea about how the Doctor should feel about it, and he folded that into the story, so that was good.
And again, I'm really not digging for any spoilers. But I asked you what your first day on set was like. What was your last day on set like?
It was fun. Actually, it was quite fun because it was sort of quite kind of, I don't want to give it away, but it was quite iconic, I guess. And you're doing something that all the Doctors have to go through at some point. And it was sad. And it was also quite kind of, the way we did it, we had all of the special people that I'd worked with were all there. So we all sort of said goodbye at the same time. But you never sort of really say goodbye because, I actually still haven't finished it yet. I've got to go into the studio and do some voice recording and some lines that have been changed and bits of plot that have been altered a little bit. So I haven't completed the role yet, but it was, yeah, it was fun, and then it was sad too.
Going forward, will you work together again? I'm not saying, hey, you're going to put him in the thing, but are you going to put him in the new
I'd
thing?
love to work with Stephen.
I very much hope to be working with Peter again. In fact, I cast Peter as the Doctor because I'd always wanted to work with him. And I thought, you know what? You know what I could do here? I could just put him in Doctor Who and that would happen.
That's really sweet.
So that's the way it worked. We didn't really consider anyone else.
Well, that's really. But we're thinking of maybe doing a thing, maybe opening like Walmarts and stuff like that together. I could come dressed as the Doctor,
Dr. Wall.
Dr. Wall, and Stephen could come dressed as like a Zygon or a monster and stuff. And we can make some money that way.
So my question is actually for Stephen and Mark. Now that you've worked with Peter as a doctor, would you be interested in having him be a professor with the last name Van Helsing?
What? Sorry. Oh, Van Helsing.
Yes.
Are you trying to get Peter work?
Yes.
Is that what you're doing? Peter, it's not okay to slip them a fiver and say, could you ask a question? We're going to work with you again, mate. It's not over.
You didn't know my sister was American.
Is there any possibility have you talked to a man called Nick Briggs at all and discussed the potential of continuing adventures in the audio series that from Big Finish?
Nick's fantastic. He's done a fantastic work with Big Finish and stuff. But I think it's probably just time for me to go away from Doctor Who for a while. I mean, Doctor Who is like all-consuming. It takes over your life. And I think it's good to go off on some adventures that nobody sees for a while, and then come back.
Well, we're really glad to have you back eventually.
Thank you.
I was just wondering if there's anything you're looking forward to do now that you have a little bit of free time, any TV series you want to catch up on or anything?
I just want to get, I don't know. I don't know what just happened. I had a sort of dream when I was Doctor Who. And suddenly I went from being just a sort of a fairly, ordinary actor to coming to New York and seeing all you guys and going around the world and meeting Doctor Who fans and being, so that's a sort of big change in your life. I think I just want to sort of, do arty things, not have to learn lines all the time, not necessarily just do acting, but do other stuff, be with my family, for one.
Thank you.
You had a little character in a show called The Thick of It that I'm quite a fan of, and I was wondering if, now that sadly your time as the Doctor is over, you may be talking to Armando about returning to that universe, possibly?
Well, I will be working with Armando next year. Yeah, we're going to do a film next year. And he's just done a wonderful film called The Death of Stalin, which you must all go and see because it's absolutely brilliant and hysterical and very dark and very clever. And I'm very lucky to work with someone like Armando, so I'm very thrilled to be going back and doing something with him. But I won't tell you what that is. You'll have to discover it.
Thank you.
Of course, the sad thing is that having like a sort of psychotic, foul-mouthed political character now just seems hopelessly out of date. I mean, that's the...
Well, that's right. I mean, the thing is that people have often asked us if we would do The Thick of It again or whatever, and politics is just not funny anymore. And it's not the time for that. It's the time for trying to understand and trying to change and trying to move forward. It's...
As a fan of a show again, that you're going to be like the rest of us now, what do you want to see from the show going forward, besides the obvious success? Because I don't think any of us here want to see Doctor Who fail.
Yeah. I think more of, in the nicest possible way, everyone says Doctor Who's all about change. I kind of don't really buy that. It's more about having the same thing dished up in different ways. I love lasagna. Don't be lasagna. So I don't know why I started that. I was trying to think of a very clever thing to say about meaning you can have the same dish done in lots of different ways. So Doctor Who will be about a mysterious funny, strange person or creature from another place who will be played beautifully by Jodie, and she will roam through the universe, hopefully blowing up monsters. And as long as they do that, it'll be great. And then there'll be lots of other stuff which I can't think of, which will be fantastic. So it'll be wonderful.
Outside yourself, who's your favorite doctor? And why?
Jodie Whittaker.
And then you mentioned Jodie Whittaker before, who's going to be, I never really liked the word replacing an actor, but is going to be playing the Doctor. How did you discover that she had the role?
Well, it was kept very secret. I mean, I didn't know anything about her, but I had a sort of vague, I sort of thought it might be not a man, which I thought was quite nice, but I wasn't sure. And then I went into Paul Smith's, which is a very wonderful clothes shop in London, where I buy my suits. And everybody knows me in there. And they said, we just got a call, they said, from Doctor Who's, the Doctor Who office, saying, can we have a pair of your trousers? But with a waist size 30. And I thought, I'm finished, I don't need any more trousers, because Doctor Who wears Paul Smith trousers, for the fashionistas among you. So they were obviously looking for a pair of trousers for the new Doctor Who to wear. And I thought, well, that can't really be a man with a 30-inch waist. And so I thought, oh, well, that must be a lady then. I know, well, they just called me a couple of days later, before it was announced and stuff like that. And ironically, and then I called Jodie, who was amazing. It was lovely to talk to her. And she just lives up the road from me. And I hadn't met her, so I didn't really know her. But she said, we've sat in the same cafes and coffee bars over the last 3 months. And she said, I haven't been able to come and say hello to you. Because that would have to be, the reason I'd be coming to say hello to you would be to say, I'm the new Doctor Who. But she's amazing, and I saw what she's done, and it's great. So I think it's in really good hands. I think you'll enjoy her very much. But she is going to be sensational. I spoke to her last week. And
Did you? Is there a Who conversation?
Well, it's great because there are only a very few of us who have actually played this role, and it's unique. And the pressures of it are unique, and the stresses and the joys of it are unique. So I hope we're going to be able to stay in touch. And I mean, David Tennant and Matt Smith have been fabulous to me. They've been such a great, because some days things can become overpowering. And you say, who can I talk to about this, who understands it? And those guys do. So I hope we'll be able to do that with Jodie too. But can I just say that it was Stephen who really laid the ground for this gender transformation. We have an evil character called the Master, who he transformed into Missy the Mistress, played beautifully by Michelle Gomez. So Stephen has done all this already. So the idea of a gender switch really comes from Stephen.
I mean, this show is about attachment and having to rip that away and get reattached the entire time, which spiritually is what it must feel like to be the Doctor, I would imagine.
Well, it's astonishing to be the Doctor. I just wanted to say that I think Jodie's going to be amazing. I spoke to her the other day, and she's so full of excitement and so full of passion about the show. She really, really loves the show. And she's a brilliant actress, so it's really, really thrilling to know that it's in the hands of somebody who cares for it so deeply, and is going to do really, really exciting things with it. So she's a great choice, as far as I'm concerned.
Have you given Jodie any advice at all, even about like the best curry house to seek out in Cardiff, or?
No, I don't think she needs any. I think she's amazing, so she'll just come and do her own thing. I think it's very difficult to describe what it's like until you're in the middle of it. I mean, I've often found myself subsequently talking to David and Matt and saying, wow, I didn't realize it was going to be like this. And they understand. There's a very small group of people who understand what it's like to be at the center of all that. So I think maybe later on we'll have a chat about it, once she's got going.
I never had a standing ovation before, so why stand?
You can do whatever you want. You can do anything you want. It'll be fine.
What a great show! This guy created this guy. This show. Every shot you saw there came through this gentleman's mind, through his eyes, through his sensibility, through his generosity. You know, he's put together an incredible team. He's an incredibly gifted artist. But the message of kindness comes from his heart. And also the creation of a female doctor comes really from the creation of a female master. Played so beautifully by Michelle, who has delivered a multi-layered, hilarious, sinister, and fabulous performance, for which I'm deeply grateful. So Jodie, the idea of a Time Lord being both male and female came from Stephen. So thanks to him. Pearl has been an absolutely magnificent new contribution to the show. She has stepped into this juggernaut that we have and brought us a real living character in Bill Potts, who has her feet on the ground and her heart in the stars. Which is where we all want to be, right? Matt has come along and delivered a fabulous creation, a whole brand new thing, an alien being who is a sidekick, who's a little bit scary, a little bit funny, and a huge contribution to the show, and who's come into it with a generosity of spirit and kindness, because this is a man who is immensely famous, immensely talented, and he stepped up to the plate in our show. With humility and grace, and made season 10 one of the most special seasons ever. Mark, what can I say about Mark? He's a great, great friend, a great lover and supporter of Doctor Who. I know that sounds a bit odd, that Doctor Who needs lovers and supporters. But the show hasn't always enjoyed the success that it enjoys at the moment. It's not always been the most popular show to hang your coat on. Mark has always been there for the show. He's written some of the most fabulous episodes, and I'm so thrilled that he's finally been able to appear in the show and that I was able to act with him. So thank you very much. Oh, God. I just did a big speech there. I didn't really expect to do that. No, I won an award, yes. Thank you for this San Diego.
It's the Smart Water Award.
Smart Water. And you're sensational too.
Oh, stop it. Come on.
You're all right. Thank you.
Hey, come on.
Thank you.